Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
So that was my wedding, which was sort of thrown together because we were at we had the deadline. We had to move into the apartment. Not only that, but luckily another thing that entered into it was that Nick got a job. He was still a student, but he got a job doing research, and that was good because during the summer ahead, he was going to be getting a paycheck every week or whatever for doing some research. One of his professors had a grant to do something with, I think, Hawaiian pineapple or whatever. But so we had the apartment, a good price that we could afford. We had his parents taking an interest, and so we went ahead, and that became our wedding. And the ladies got together and they prepared some foods so that after the ceremony we had a sort of a buffet lunch. And
how many people came to the wedding?
Well, just the wedding party, but we were his 4 brothers and their wives, and then the 2 cousins, that would be Nejla and Sally, and some cousins who would be Alice and Philip, and Elner and Alfred.
And it was in an Orthodox church, right?
But it was in an Orthodox church, which was St. Nicholas, as a matter of fact, and it's on Henry Street in Brooklyn. I think it still exists, but it was a real, true, old-fashioned church. And
what did Supergram think of that?
They went along with it. They were very cooperative because they figured they couldn't do anything too radical. If they were the sort of people that if they didn't really approve, they wouldn't say anything. They just swallow their pride and go along with it. So they, and then Aunt Flora couldn't stand it because she liked me so much. She couldn't stand it that she was not going to see the wedding. So she and
Charlie, her husband, right?
Well, he was dead by then. No, I don't.
Oh, he
was
dead
not
by
dead.
then. No, he wasn't.
No, he gave her the money, and they took a train from Buffalo with her daughter Betty, and they came to the wedding, and my mother was at the wedding, and that was the only side of my family represented, and none of my friends, none of my girlfriends were involved, because it was a complete Gehshan affair, the people in it and the people invited by it. They made all the arrangements.
Wow.
And being New Yorkers, they knew exactly where to go, where to order the limo to take me to the church, which was in downtown Brooklyn. And we're in Bay Ridge. So they hired a limo for me to get to the church and to get back to the 86th Street address, which is where they lived. And then on the upstairs floor, they had cleared out all the furniture and had records playing so we could dance if we wanted to. And as I say, they made Lebanese food, but they also had shrimp salad and things like that.
Do you remember what was served?
Not really. I don't think I had too much to do with it, but it was cold foods, and I'm sure it was very nice. And they, when Nick and I got out of the limo to come up all those stairs, because 86th Street, the house was on a hill, a very high hill, and lots of stairs were going up to it. So we walked up the stairs. They pelted him with confetti, and they had a lot of fun. They threw confetti and rice at us.
Did you get along with Nick's mom?
Well, as nearly as I could. I respected her, but I couldn't understand a word she said because she never really learned English very well. So if she wanted to say something to me, she'd tell him in Arabic and he'd have to translate. So that was okay. We existed because there's always somebody around to translate. And a lot of the things she said were probably, if they were not nice, he wouldn't translate it correctly. So I imagine she had things about me she didn't like.
Was his father alive?
She would not have picked me for his wife, let's put it that way. She would have liked a brown-eyed, dark-skinned, dark-haired Lebanese girl. So for her, I was a fellahin, which was a farmer. And of course I had a good education, but that didn't mean anything to her. But I was a approached by the priest when we had our rehearsal. We had a rehearsal dinner, and he said, "Now you have to promise if you have any children, they're going to be raised in the Orthodox faith." And Nick said, "Promise, promise, or he won't marry us." So I promised, and I guess if I ever had any intention of doing so, I couldn't have been able to carry it out because there was no Orthodox church in our neighborhood. I think there was one in Elkins Park. We would have had quite a drive to find one. So my children were taken to a Presbyterian Sunday school at first.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the wedding, and then I had a very, very pretty melon-colored suit. Very, very pretty color, and a white blouse with lace. And as soon as the party wound down, and I don't even remember that they had much liquor, although Mitchell liked to drink. Whether or not they had a toast, I just don't remember. But we changed clothes, packed our suitcases, walked up to the corner and got on the subway and went to New York. And we had reservations at a hotel where we stayed the weekend, and during that time he showed me a lot of New York, and we did a lot of really sightseeing. Empire State Building. We went to ride on some kind of an excursion boat. I think they still have it, that you ride all around Manhattan Island. You remember that? Do you know that?
Yeah.
And lots and lots of things that I had no idea were there. And we ate in some nice restaurants and had a good time of it. Then, of course, we had to come back to normal. Yeah. And the following, let's say Monday, we left the hotel, got on the train, and went to Ithaca for our new life. Rode on the train to Ithaca, New York, which was the Lehigh Valley, was the name of the train, which stopped in Ithaca. And we got off and took the bus up the hill to our new apartment and started to keep house. And Nick had the job. He started work. And I don't remember. I just was involved in getting settled. And of course we had no showers. So I had nothing really to, not tons of presents to put away or dishes or anything. We had to start furnishing our apartment. And that was pretty much fun to do, and I managed okay.
Can I go back really quickly? Did you know, was Nick's father alive?
Yes, he was. He walked me down the aisle.
Oh, he did? What was his name?
Taufik.
Taufik Gehshan?
Mm-hmm.
And what was Nick's mother's name?
Selma.
Selma Gehshan.
Selma Araman. And her father was an Araman. His mother was an Atta. A-T-T-A, which you probably knew that. There were several branches of the family. That's a common name, Atta.
Uh-huh.
And so
Did
anyway,
you like him?
we started life at Cornell, and very shortly I got a job at the Home Ec building, and I was the secretary to 3 women who had a department called Economics of the Household, and they were doing cooperative extension work, and that was a branch of the government funded by government money, and they were to go to the counties